I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, July the 10th, brought to you in part by Zactran. And you guys know that Zactran has been sponsoring the market of the month every month due to the 4th of July holiday and everything. We didn't get that put in, but we are going to award the market of the month here on this session of the feeder flash, and stay tuned, we'll do that here in just a second. Truck shortages week after next. And there's so many cattle moving, especially right in the center part of the United States. The Flint Hills are emptying out that week, and everybody I've talked to that's been getting cattle out of there, and I'm telling you guys, you can't imagine how vast that is. It's 10,000 square miles there of all grass, and there's cattle turned out there, and they're all going to be coming off just about the same time. And this year, more so than normal, as a lot of that grass belongs to the Bass Brothers out of Fort Worth. There's some other major landowners in there that lease that ground out. There's a lot of individual proprietors too that own that land. And they're wanting to come at the same time. But everybody I've talked to said all those cattle are going to ship from the 20th to the 25th, and there's just so many trucks. So I'm not sure how they're going to get that done. Plus they're going to be having still some big auctions all around the middle part of the country too. We've got to get those cattle hauled off, and it's just like the fall of the year on calves. There's a few weeks out of the year where there's just not enough trucks. But if you've got a bull wagon and you're willing to put some miles on, and I would get on that Kansas Turnpike, go to Emporia, Kansas, get a hold of a dispatcher there, hang around, you'll find some loads. There'll be plenty of them, but there'll be a big truck shortage there. I want to talk about the market of the month. We've been doing this here for the last several months, and the markets, the sale barns that have been getting this, they get a real nice looking sign that shows they were the market of the month, and the guys have been tickled with that. They also get some free Zactran swag to kind of hand out to the guys that work out back and things, caps and cups and this and that and the other, but it's more bragging rights than anything for those feeder flash gang members. And this month, for the month of June, we're going to award the market of the month to Joplin Stockyards. And you guys say, oh, you're always talking about Joplin Stockyards. I tell you what, if anybody deserves it for June, it's them. I told you there in the 2 weeks there at the last part of June, they sold 27,000 head of cattle through that ring. With special sales. They had a special yearling sale on a Monday. They had a special weanback sale the Thursday before. They had a pile of cattle that Monday before that. People don't even realize that they have routinely they sell 1,000, 1,200 cows every Wednesday there. And one of the best cow markets, slaughter cow market, and they sell a lot of replacement cows in there too. But I tell you what, it's a family organization there, first class, and even though it's big and fancy and all that kind of thing, they treat you just like family when you go in there. Jackie Moore there, he and I have been friends for 15 or 20 years. I guess in 2000 is whenever I moved to Missouri, and of course that's the biggest market in the state of Missouri. I started going down there, so we're right at 20 years, and I'll never forget the first time that I met Jackie Moore. Of course, he's busy all the time. He stuck his hand out, and I'm the lowly government guy there, but he stuck his hand out and he said, Jackie Moore, I go to bed at 10, I get up at 5, call me. And he's slowed down a little bit. He's eased back a little bit from that, but still the same Jackie, and always been a gentleman to me. And his boys, Bailey and Skylar, saw them grow up there from their adolescence into young men that are just as big in the cattle business as anybody. And I tell you what, they're doing a good job too. But Mark Harmon there, their PR guy that runs the Cattleman's News there, the publication that they put out of there, he and I have gotten to be really close, and they just do such a good job there. They have their weanback specials. They have special cow sales there. In the times of the year when the small groups of calves are going, they have a commingled sale there where the smaller producers can bring their cattle in the night before, and they will put those into load lot bunches if they can, or at least bigger bunches where the buyers get in there. They're helping the buyers there. They're giving those cattle a respiratory shot and charging it to the buyer, and they're tickled to death to pay it, because then they can buy the cattle and put them on their order. But they've got that primetime livestock video. That thing continues to get bigger and bigger all the time. Yes, they're a DV Auction customer and have been forever. And yes, they're good friends of mine, but they are the market of the month. And it's for their performance, the way they've been helping producers market cattle in the 4-state area. Let's talk about what else is going on. Still having big videos winding down here on the week in the Rockies that turned out not to be in the Rockies because of the COVID. COVID's ruining everything. It's going to completely ruin this country if we don't decide to finally just swallow real hard. And if you're scared of the COVID, you stay home. If you're not, you go about your lives. But I don't know what is going on here. We've decided to give up our freedoms, but and it's happening with the big Western video market that they're having in Reno next week from July the 13th to the 15th. It's going to be at the Nugget Casino out there, and we were expecting to really have a big draw. They were having a lot of consigners come in. I was going to go out there. I was going to give a presentation there on Monday night at the big dinner that they always have. And sure enough, the Nugget has found out that they're going to have to kind of ease off of the numbers of people there and try to hold it to a minimum. So now they're mainly just encouraging the buyers to come, not so much the consigners. I'm still going to go out there and meet some contacts and hang out with those Western video people. I tell you what, they are the salt of the earth too. They're just on the western side of the United States, and until the last several years when I got involved with Western, I wasn't really familiar with those areas, but I've been out there to California a few times, out to Oregon, and really like those people out there. But that big Western video market, like I said, starting on Monday, it's going to be 9:15 Central, 8:15 Mountain Time every morning. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday's the big day. Altogether, they've got 140,000 head of cattle that they're going to offer. They'll all be west of the Mississippi for sure. Most of them are all going to be west of I-35 for sure too. And then on I-25 too, but a lot of Western cattle, but they do have a lot of green grass yearlings, 75,000 of them that they're going to sell on Monday. And if you can't get there, get on to dvauction.com or go to WVM Cattle. You can get to the bidding console there and bid on those cattle. Be taking the bids. If you can't do that, you can watch on the satellite. You can get on the phone and call if you can't make out there. But they've got lots and lots of green grass yearlings out there. Big, long strings of them, guys. And they're not all going to be, actually not too many in that Flint Hills region. That'll be a little bit far east from them. But they've got some of those cattle up there in western Nebraska. They've got a lot of cattle, Colorado cattle, a lot of Wyoming cattle. And then you go over into Oregon and around, they've got a lot of program cattle on there. And I know a lot of you feedlots are really liking these program cattle. They'll have lots and lots of strings, long strings of those cattle, reputation cattle, and they will ding every buzzer there with all the bells and whistles. Move on to Tuesday, they've got the bigger calves and the wean calves, and a lot of those will still have late summer, early fall deliveries. And then move on to Wednesday, and they'll be mostly light calves, and they'll be mostly all in the fall delivery there. But don't miss the Western Video Market's big sale coming up on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Let's talk about what happened on the board on Thursday here. August live cattle futures up 10 cents at 99 1/4. October up 42 cents. So, you know, we were up pretty good a couple of days and then down and then just kind of jostling in between there. But October was up 42 cents at 103.92. You go on out front there, and it was down 30 cents. It was the only down month, and that was all the way out into December 21st. All your other traded months were up marginally. August feeder cattle up 47 cents at 134.52. September was up 50 cents, 136.17. You go on your out front feeder cattle up 35 cents to up 67 cents. Your fat cattle trade continued. They had sales on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Through Wednesday, they had already sold 78,000 negotiated in your 5-area feeding region. We're continuing to see pretty healthy negotiated cash movement. I don't know if they're doing that, trying to take a little bit of the attention away from the 50-14, but we're still pushing 50-14. We want 50% or at least some mandated negotiated cash minimum for every major plant there, and we hope to get it. If we could get Pat Roberts, the chairman of the Senate Ag Committee, to ease up a little bit. Come on, you're a lame duck. It's just about over. Quit standing in the way of grassroots movement from the cattlemen. And we need this to save our industry. You know, you're going off into the sunset. We need this to save the industry for the kids and the grandkids and the next generations coming out. But let's talk about what happened on Wednesday's trade after they had already sold 78,000 in the 5-area. Iowa confirmed sales 1,100 head from 98 to $1. Dress sales 157 to 160. Nebraska 3,100 head 96 to 97. Dress sales 155 to 157. All these prices are some higher. Kansas 1,200 head 94 to 98. And Texas just had a couple hundred head, all at 94. And it gets real confusing if you use these wide price spreads and the wide price spreads from last week, trying to get a trend on there, because we did have some $90 cattle this week, so that sucks your bottom side of the price range down, but then your top side of the price range is sure $5 higher there. But on your weighted averages through Wednesday anyway, your live sales this week are mostly $2 higher than a week ago, and dress sales mostly $4 higher on the weighted averages, but we haven't made it all through the end of the week. Now, we are having deliveries against the CME live cattle contract coming in. It's off the June board that went off there at the end of last month there, but they're still carrying out these deliveries. And several of them, the most we've seen for quite a while, and you think, well, how's that working? Well, it goes to show you that there are people out there that hedge those cattle, and the board ended up with a huge basis there. The board was not nearly as high as cash was whenever it closed out, but they still wanted to deliver cattle. So that shows you that there are people out there that are having trouble getting rid of their cattle, and likely big, but if they're going to deliver them against the futures contract, they can't bring those big hippopotamuses and rhinoceroses and elephants. They won't take them that big. You know, they get up over 1,550 pounds. They're not going to take them. But the June board went off at 91.65. That's what these sales are based off of. And they had over 90 deliveries that came, and there were more than that were tendered that were not demanded, but still not real significant, but it shows you the complexion of what's going on out there. Even though we're trading cattle, even though we've got our harvest back up, there are still guys that desperately need to market cattle, and they're trying to get it done any way they can. That we're not up to speed yet. We've got heavy cattle backed up, and I know some analysts and some people watching the market tell you, oh, it looks like we're getting through this better than we thought. If so, why would you be scrambling to deliver your cattle off a base of 91.65? But we had 26 deliveries or loads, but delivery contracts there. It's a train car load. I mean, that's how out of date things are there with the contract. It's a train car load. It's not a truck load. But Friday they've got 20 loads scheduled. Monday they got 37 loads scheduled. Tuesday they got 17 loads scheduled. Add up to quite a few cattle, and it's mostly in Kansas and some up in Nebraska there. But it does show you that there's people that are still desperately wanting to get cattle scheduled and wanting to get cattle sold. Box beef cutout values down marginally, but not too bad there later part of the week. But choice cuts 203.59, down 24 cents. Selects 194.83, down 69 cents. Pretty decent movement, 163 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimming. Your slaughter 474,000 through Thursday. That's 10,000 off of last week. Of course, they knew they were going to be dark at the end of the week because of 4th of July last week, so they had been pushing harder. But 10,000 less than last week, just 2,000 less than the same week a year ago. So we're back up to speed, but they've got to crank that thing up, turn it up a little bit, and get us caught up. But why would the Packers do that? They know they're going to get all the cattle anyway, so they're so disciplined, and they've just learned that, and they never have to get in a hurry or get worried because they know all those cattle have to come through there because we just don't have enough packing plant options in this country right now. Well, let's look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late on Thursday, 133.83. down 24 cents, but that's not bad at all because we had the real stick out sales there on Wednesday, including the Bassett barbecue sale there, and it just launched things. And to go through some pretty heavy receipt sales on Thursday and only lose 24 cents there, that's not bad at all. The CME, and there was quite a bit of talk about that. The CME cash feeder cattle index jumped $3.54. On the latest that was available, which caught up with your sales there earlier in the week. But if you'd have known that, if you'd been watching your RTI, then you would have seen that it was going to do that because your RTI jumped $3.70 the day before, and your CME cash feeder cattle index is always running a day behind your RTI because your RTI is up to date, current, at your fingertips as fast as you can refresh your computer. Let's talk about your feeder cattle auctions on Thursday. Pratt livestock, winter livestock sale there in Pratt, 1,750 head there compared to 2 weeks ago, $2 to $4 higher. And you're thinking, well, Dodge City and Pratt haven't been selling too many big deals of cattle. No, because they've got huge specials coming up here in the next couple of weeks. And that's what they usually have with the King of the Ring sale, the auctioneer contest. I'm not going to be able to have that because of the damn COVID. But they're still having their big special sales. They had cattle lined up for that deal all summer long. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 2,200 head there. First sale back from the harvest break, and it was a good one. It was quite a bit higher too, and for sure on your yearlings. But you couldn't really test it because they haven't had a sale for several weeks there, not just for 4th of July, but before that. Big sale that did have a great test on was Mitchell Livestock Auction, Mitchell, South Dakota. 5,000 head there compared to 2 weeks ago. Their big steers weighing over 800 pounds, $7 to $13 higher. That is a ton. You think they didn't have some happy consigners there. Look out on Cattle Market Central here through DV Auction. I pulled out a bunch of the 9-weight steer load lots there. And these are all weighing in the low 9s there. And look how well they're selling. Weighing in the low 9s. And a lot of these are going to be backgrounded cattle. Not as many green grass cattle up in that time, but the farmer feeders are still wanting them. That corn's not going to be worth anything. Plus, they've got a huge negative basis there. But look at these loads of 9 weights. They bring from 135.60 to 137 1/4. Let's talk about some calves. We don't ever talk about calves anymore. We've just been talking about yearlings. Well, it's hard to find any big strings of calves there, but Brian Little had some. Coffeyville Livestock there in Coffeyville, Kansas. How about 91 head, 559 pound steer calves, 163.10. That's an impressive quote. I talked to Troy Frazier way out in Washington State, and he said, man, you got your cover from one end to the other. I tell you what, we're just like ZZ Top here on the Feeder Flash. We're nationwide. Talked to him out there at Toppenish, Washington. Troy Frazier sent me a note there. He said they had an in-house video there on Thursday, and they had the J2 Cattle Company steers in there, 900 head, one drag. Sold them in the sale barn, but not through the ring. It was an in-house video there. 900 steers off grass there, 910 pounds, current delivery, local cattle right there within 20 miles of Toppenish, delivering today and tomorrow. 900 steers, 910 pounds, way out in Washington State, 133.85. wow. But the best price, the quote that I saw, you got to figure where it's at, and that the cattle went through the ring, which is what I like to see. But Paris Stockyards, Paris, Kentucky, they had a hell of a sale on Thursday. Had the Harold Shimfessel cattle in there. He's a Feeder Flash gang member from what I hear. Harold, we're going to give you a shout out here on the 2 loads that you sold in Paris on Thursday. He lives in Pilot View community there in Winchester, Kentucky. He buys little 4-weight cattle and then backgrounds them. Does a hell of a job. He had a load, mostly all black, and then he had a load of smoky Charolais Cross there. The smoky colored Charolais Cross, of course, they were a little bit heavier, but not too much. But they were 58 head of them, 863 pound Charolais Cross steers, 129.90. And then the all black load, the top quote of the day, Paris, Kentucky, 62 loads, 62 head, 859 pound steers at 132.50. And that's your Feeder Flash for Friday.